Come, sit. We are still on a series called How I Recovered from My Financial Mistakes in My Late 40s. Now, if you're here for the first time, I encourage you to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share. And let me give you a little bit of orientation. By the way, I am a financial wellness coach, a personal financial wellness coach, and there are things that I do on this channel. 2 things that we do every week. Every week we land here on Wednesdays. And on Wednesdays, we do something called Biblical Success Principles. And there we just sort of look at the Word of God, because if you are a Christian, the Word of God, the Bible is our reference manual. We look at it, we hear, and we get certain inspirations that help us in our life's journey, including, because I am a financial coach, so I look out to bring out to sort of see the inspiration that helps us in our financial journey. So that's what we do on Wednesday. And we have been on a journey called A Ride Through Genesis. So we took the book of Genesis from chapter 1. We've been going through chapter by chapter, verse by verse, and looking at what are we hearing? What is it that we're hearing? Including, things that we call kingdom awareness. So go there, listen to the Ride Through Genesis right from the first one. I know the first video we recorded, we had was, we released was on From Crisis to Order. You will see how you are going to order your life and how you're going to eliminate or dismantle the crisis in your life. So go there, listen. That's Wednesday. Now, then we have Fridays. Fridays like today, I welcome you. On Fridays, we do the what you would probably call the Money Friday or Finance Friday, because on Fridays we basically just look at things to do with money. There's a playlist. If you go to the playlist section, there's a playlist on maybe videos on financial freedom, videos on home ownership for financial security. I actually think that we did I think a couple of Fridays back, maybe 4 Fridays back, I think last month. Anyway, there's a series of videos, I think about 6 videos. If you don't have a home, please go there, listen to it. It's very helpful and it's very useful, from at least the people who have told me that they have watched the videos. So that's what happens. And so please feel free, sit down, take your seat, find some corner, listen, and let's keep journeying together. Now, the reason I do this, everybody has their why. The reason why I do what I do is because, man, I made mistakes with money. I made mistakes with money, difficult and challenging mistakes with money, because I didn't know, because I was ignorant, and yet I was earning a high income. I was a high income earner because I was occupying a position of a country director in an international organization. But that did not shield me. That did not shield me from making mistakes. I made mistakes. In fact, yes, I made mistakes. And I actually went out and, I came out of those mistakes, and I am glad. I thank God for having helped me to sort of come out of those mistakes. But I did record, sort of the story as it was unfolding of the financial mistakes that I did. I was involved in 2018, but also thereafter, of course, things happened. I still continue to make mistakes until the time when I did a turnaround, when now my mistakes, I sort of had to now sit and be able to say, my mistakes, no. It was on the occasion of my 47th birthday, which came on the 20th September 2020. So I have been on a series just helping us to, sort of sharing my own journey of how I was able to recover from my financial mistakes in my late 40s. And so I hope that you are enjoying, and I hope that you're picking certain nuggets and certain lessons from the series. So today is series number 4, part 4, and then we shall have wrapped up this series. The first part of this series, we talked about, telling yourself the truth, confronting the truth. The second one we talked about seeking knowledge. And then last week we talked about changing money habits, new money habits, acquiring new money habits. I encourage you to go back there and sort of watch and see. But for you to actually connect better, you can actually watch from the playlist on the financial Forex scam, which sort of documents my journey of the mistakes, even though that is not the complete journey, but that was phase 1. Even mistakes have phases. I actually had phase 1, phase one before 2018. There was a phase one, then there was a phase two, which was the biggest 2018. Oh, and then there was a post 2018, that was phase three, and then there was a short phase four, and then I was delivered. You know the way people are delivered. Me, I was delivered, and I was delivered on my deliverance. I started my deliverance on the 20th of September 2020. I call it my Damascus moment because, friends, I was delivered from financial mistakes. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't make, I mean, a few times when I make mistakes, but I'm very conscious and I'm very, I catch myself very quickly, when I find myself in a situation where I am likely to be making financial mistakes. But so today we are going to be talking about building myself as part of the last phase, because I shared how I went through the journey of how I recovered, and part of my recovery journey ended up in building myself in a phase called building myself. And I did share that I submitted myself for coaching for financial literacy classes, so that I could begin to see how do I work differently with money, and I did that. But over and above going for a financial literacy class, going for having a coach in my corner around on matters of finance, I had to actually say, you know what, now I need to take note, and I need to pay attention to developing myself, to personal development. Because in the last video we said that it's easy for you to dress up externally and to spend money and to go out of your way to actually look good externally. You go out of your way, you will spruce up yourself, you will look good. When we see you, you look good, and you have spent money, obviously, to look that good. I mean, whether it's good clothes, good shoes, whatever, I mean, looking good. But you might look good externally, but internally, my friend, things are okay. Things are not okay. And so, I was paying attention, even as I was of course looking good externally, I needed to actually now begin to pay attention to internally, how was I? And so I embarked on a process of personal development. I embarked on a process of building myself. But even before I did that, from a financial standpoint, from of course my financial literacy classes, I was able to actually go through, come up with a 5-year financial plan, like project into the future, be very dedicated, be very concise, be very dedicated, be very intentional about where, what I was doing. Because remember, I was coming from a place where I had no savings. I had 0 shillings. Zero. Is there even, it should not even be called 0 shillings. 0 shilling. I had 0 shilling in anything that I would call saving. My investments, why did I even have any investments other than what was in those plots that we used to buy with chamas? Really, nothing else to write home about, nothing completely. If I had lost my job at that time, I can guarantee you I would be a poor woman for sure. I even, God, I don't even know. But anyway, the thing is, I embarked on a journey of developing myself and building myself, and I spent money to do that because I realized that if I invest in myself, if I just put in money and invest in myself and invest internally, internal me, then I become a better person, number one, but also I become more aware. I build my own awareness, and that is how I managed to also become a coach, because I invested in training. I don't just call myself a coach for the sake of it. That I just woke up and decided to call myself a coach. No, no, no. I went back to school. I actually acquired up to, I think, yeah, the hours I did for learning are an equivalent of a diploma. Actually, probably even more than a diploma. But yes, what is an equivalent of a diploma in coaching, which is, like even within the ICF, International Coaching Federation, it's like the highest hours that you can achieve in terms of training hours. And so I did that. I went out of my way to actually just understand. And beyond that, I also invested in other coaching programs to help me understand, oh my goodness, all these businesses that I was putting in money. And I am telling you, I have put in money in different businesses and I lost money in the process. And I was putting in money in businesses that I didn't understand. I didn't know, I didn't do due diligence. I wasn't, just putting in money. The thing that I was in the last video, I was talking about opening taps. My taps were open and I would pour out. And I'm the kind of person who goes all in. I I mean, risk management for me was very low because I didn't know. That was not something that I was even, thinking about. I didn't know what to do. And it's very interesting because whereas at my place of work, because then I was a country director, at my place of work, financial prudence was a given, was given for me. But how I was not able to actually replicate that in my own life, I still marvel to this day. And this is what happens with many professionals. It's a tragedy of very many professionals that at the workplace they could be doing well, they could be taking care of the resources, they could be stewarding the organization in a good way or something. But when it comes to their own financial lives, my goodness, mess of a mess, especially in the area of finance, so that you have people who are, leading organizations, people who are, managing and, managing budgets, cracking budgets and doing things. But it stops with the organization. When it comes to their own personal life, I don't know where the disconnect comes. They don't manage, they don't project. I know that in my organization we used to do like cash flow forecast, we used to do like future forecast. I would always like, okay, do we have funding up to what time? Do we have a where are we? So that all those projections. But when it comes to your personal life, that is completely empty. I mean, it's non-existent. It doesn't exist. You're not paying attention either because you have you sort of feel like I, I don't know whether it is a feeling of you hold a job, you have resources that are coming in, you tend to be in a comfort zone, you forget that someday, one day you're going to be leaving that employment. So you sort of just go through the motions, what I call the kipepeo dance. You dance the kipepeo dance until voila, you find yourself, you have gotten to your late 40s. And that's when you look back and you're like, what just happened? Where am I? What happened? In my case, I just found myself in some forest, but not a physical forest, a forest of issues, But what I'm saying is the first I did confronting the truth. I sought knowledge. What I didn't understand, I was able to seek the knowledge. I was able to then, in the last video, I talked about changing my money habits. And then, of course, now building myself. If I tell you, I'm telling you, I invested a lot of money in building myself, in just being able to actually develop myself, become better, become a coach, yes, just learn skills, just understand these things called purpose and how to, and even organizing my purpose business, how to do that. All that I would never have known anything. I would never have understood the things that I know now if I had not invested in coaching. If I had not decided, what, I am going to put in money for my personal development as part of my as part of my investment, because investing in yourself is important, especially if if you want to look at the future, if you're it's part of your financial building your financial resources, because even you are a financial resource. By the way, did you know that you are a financial resource? How are you a financial resource? Because the knowledge that you have and the things that you can turn that into a business. You can turn that into a money making machine. You can turn that into a business. So you would never be able to do that. You would never be able to know that unless you sort of, invest in that direction of understanding and of knowing, because no one is born knowing. We never come to this world. We come to this world tabula like empty in terms of our minds and our brain, but we keep feeling. But a lot of times we feel for the employer. Did you know that a lot of times we go to school to study for the employer, for purposes of the employer, knowing that we have all these accolades, we have all these things, and so we then would get either a promotion, we get employment, or we get a promotion. But in terms of the things that can help us to be able to really either develop ourselves, become better people, or even develop businesses from what we know, that one we never do. And yet I realized that in that phase of building myself, it was one of the best things that happened to me, because if I had not done that, I would still be grinding. I would still be stuck in a job that I honestly reached a point where I really wasn't very enthusiastic about it. Why? Because organizations change, organizations evolve. There are dynamics that come in, and as you continue to grow in your, to grow, you sort of, and as you continue to understand who you are, as you continue to understand where God is calling you, you sort of begin to feel the disconnect. And by the way, for me, I started feeling the disconnect, or the restlessness. I would probably call it the restlessness. I started feeling the restlessness at 42. I was actually looking at my one of my diaries. Imagine, up as late as back as back in 2016, I began to feel that restlessness, and it's when I felt the restlessness that I began to slide into financial mistakes. Now, had I if I had paid attention to how do I even know what this my purpose is? How do I, build myself internally? How do I invest in building myself internally? If I had done that in 2016, I probably wouldn't have gone through a phase of financial mistakes, one after another, one after another, one after another. But then, of course, I didn't know. I mean, we say that in Kikuyu we say the wisdom does not begin. Wisdom comes later. Wisdom comes as a result of your experiences. You draw wisdom from your experiences, and I think that's what happened. But I did pay a lot of attention to building myself. I paid for very expensive coaching programs, and I do not regret at all, because my turnaround was much quicker, much faster, because then there are certain things that I began to understand. There are certain things that I began to appreciate. I began to say that, you know what? Yes, I have made mistakes. That's okay. But there is another way. There is a different way in which I can be able to, still, feel the joy of serving and doing what I need to do. And by the way, it doesn't end. Even now, I am still in school. I am still, studying. I'm still doing things. So it doesn't end. But now it's very clear, and anything that I get into, anything that I put into, I sort of sign up for study, or a coaching program. It's not just anything. It's not anything that I will hear that I will say I will put in money there, because I am clear, and I have the plan, I have the forecast, and because I was able to develop a 5-year plan. Yes, I was able to develop a 5-year plan back in 2020. But then, and the 5-year plan would have been implemented by 2025. It wasn't implemented because, of course, I resigned from work midway, 3 years into the plan. But at the point when I made the decision to resign, which was, of course, related to certain other external factors that happened at the workplace. By the time I was making that decision to sort of leave employment, I was in a place where I felt confident that, based on the knowledge, based on the way I have invested in building myself, I am capable of actually coming out and being able to develop what I need to develop. And because I had already, like, come out of my financial mistakes, reformed the way I worked with money, paid off my debts, made sure that, at least in terms of, the way things are, I can be able to actually pay attention to, getting the freedom to be able to spend time on building my business and doing what I need to do, my coaching business. And so it's a part. It's not recovering from financial mistakes in your late 40s, or even in your early 50s, or at least when you are a bit advanced in age, is not the same as recovering when you are younger. Because when you're younger, you have more time. You don't have, significant responsibilities. Of course, when you're in your late 40s or in your early 50s, your children are at the peak. They are in school, maybe they're in college. It becomes very entangled. If you do not, if something happens, it's very easy for you to slide. And that for me was what I saw. And so, even for me to actually say, you know what, I want to invest in myself, I want to invest in knowledge, for me to be able to know the things that I didn't know, then I can be able to put my life back on track. So to that extent, then that's why I say I encourage people. I mean, don't wait until you have made mistakes, until your late 40s. That is when you're waking up to say you have a Damascus moment. Of course, if it happens to you, then you cannot just stay stuck in your mistakes. You just have to say, you know what, I have to arise and I have to keep going and I have to turn the tide. That's a message for you. But for you who hasn't, who is still, I mean, you're in your 30s, you're in your early 40s, you have, God has blessed you with, a position at work. You are earning a reasonable income. Maybe you're holding a mid-level position at work. Maybe you're a senior executive at work. Please do not wait until you make mistakes, because I made the mistakes when I started, when I occupy. I think I started my mistakes when, yeah, a couple of years back. But when I started earning a reasonable income, and knowing that I have a bit of breathing room, a bit of flexibility with my resources, that's when, of course, the mistakes came in. So, but it is possible for you to actually say, no, 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 I don't want to wait until to just keep on doing this, keep a dance. I want to be able to, hold myself together, learn the knowledge that I need to learn, so that I can be able to to chaperone my financial journey and my financial life with knowledge and with wisdom. Now, that is why I am a coach. And that is why I say, I am a personal financial coach that helps you to take charge of your financial future. I always want you to have an eye on your future. It's not just about the present, and the present is good, but the way you manage today is what is going to determine how your tomorrow turns. And so I have programs that I run, and one of the programs that I run is called the Manage and Multiply Your Money Challenge. It is a challenge that I run for 3 days. We meet on Zoom, and so as we come to the end of 2023, because this is the month of December, I know you are celebrating. I know it is the Christmas season. I know you are, you have just been celebrating. You are feeling the festive mode and everything. As you do that festive mode, as you buy those new clothes, as you go for your holidays, as you do whatever it is that you do, please remember to spare out about $42. Just carve out some $42, and that $42 will help you to have a good start during 2024. We will meet during the challenge, and when we meet during the challenge, I am going to be revealing to you certain things that you did not know. And when I reveal to you some of those things that you did not know, you will inevitably begin to manage your money in a different way, and you will begin to actually see how are you able to set aside your resources, and change the way you're managing your money, so that you can begin to put in place the plans for building your financial future. It is a journey. I won't lie to you and tell you that it's like a gas cooker effect. There is no gas cooker effect. As a matter of fact, the reason why, for me, it almost sounds like a gas cooker effect, even though it's not really a gas cooker effect. The only reason why I was able to actually like recover within just 3 short years, and get back on track after 3 years, is because I was privileged to earn a high income. And because I was privileged to hold a high position as a country director, then my income was higher. I could be able to sort of maneuver it. It's something that I was able to actually replan. Now, if you're not earning that extremely high income, or let me not even put the extremely, but if you're not if you're not in the higher income bracket, then it means that your journey is going to take much longer, obviously. And so, because it's going to take much longer, then you need to get into the journey faster, much sooner, much faster, so that then you can go through the journey. Now, that's why, by the way, I am so passionate about people, about women who are in mid-level management and who are in senior level management, because I made my mistakes when I was in that season of my mid-level management to senior level management, and I sort of have the passion to actually help you, chaperone and shift, make the changes, shift to help you, do your things differently, and achieve, and so that you can be able to achieve your financial independence. I think we all desire to have financial freedom. We all desire to have time freedom. We all desire to have the freedom of mobility. We all desire to have the freedom of creativity, because when you are employed, you can't do things the way you want. I mean, you can't do your own things. There is a code. There is your employer has decided what you should do. So the freedom of creativity is sort of not very present with you. freedom of time. I mean, you can't just do things the way you want or whenever you want. No, no, no. Neither do you have the freedom of mobility to be able to say that you can take off and go, and still your business will be running. The month you don't appear in your job, if it's not your leave, you have nothing. There is nothing to take home. So those are the freedoms that I want you to be able to think about, even as we go through these processes, so that you are not just, you have to always remember that your job is not is not permanent. You're not there permanently. You still need to work out. You need to work out a way. You need to be conscious about that day when you will leave employment. How are you organizing and preparing preparing yourself for the day when you will leave employment? That's why I am here. That's why I am a coach. That's why you need to call me as your coach in your corner, so that we can walk this journey together. So, friends, I want to encourage you. Below in the description section, we will put a link to the challenge. It's only $42. Please make sure that you set aside. I know you are rich right now. It is festive season. Set aside that $42. Let's meet on the 9th of January, because I want you to start the year from a note of forgetting Dwelle Spite, and then we sort of proceed. So, friends, I continue to encourage you to like, to subscribe, to comment. Please tell me if these videos are helpful. Let me hear from you. It also encourages me to not just have a monologue over here, but also, please don't be mean. Imagine just do a like. And until next Friday, or until next Wednesday, whichever the case, I want to wish you the very best. Asanteni.